Hello everyone and welcome back to another coin roll hunting video. In today's video we're going to be digging into this $500 box of quarters, so let's get into it. Alright everyone, so to start things off I figured that we'd go through the first couple rolls together and see what we got and do some edge hunting. And then I can talk a little bit about what we've got. So I did want to say before we get into it, I noticed this roll is a little strange, and if you look at it, this lip is really low, and I'm pretty sure this is understuffed, but when I shake it, like, they feel really loose, so there could even be like a penny or a nickel in here or something, so I figured I'd start with this one. It was right on the end anyway of the first roll in the box. But let's get into this, and I'll start opening these up, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're looking for in these hunts. So what I'm doing right here is called edge hunting. So I'm going to just open up this roll. We're going to look at the edge of those coins there. And I'm not seeing anything right here, but what we mainly look for when we're edge hunting is we look for that 90% silver, because if you didn't know, all quarters minted 1964 and earlier are 90% silver. So they're worth more than your average quarter would be. So we try to find those. I don't find them very often, the 90% silver quarters, but every once in a while. I've found a couple of them before. Trying to see there, that has a little bit of copper, so I'm pretty sure it's not. This right here is standing out to me. But, nope, it's just a really nice shiny Ohio quarter actually. So that's interesting. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're looking for here other than our silver. So I will be pulling aside a bunch of things to look for errors. With our quarters, there are so many errors because there's so many different types of quarters. Every year they make multiple different types of quarters, and so there's just so much to look for. So I'll be pulling off a ton to the side and looking for errors. And then we'll also look for anything that's not supposed to be in the rolls, like foreign coins or proof coins. We'll also be looking for our 2019 and 2020 West Point minted quarters. Those are worth a decent amount, like $15 to $20, somewhere around there. And also, some of you might be saying, but in the comments, but these thick orange edges, typically we look for proofs with those. I'm not going to look at them right now because I think that those are probably just new coins, like the 2024, 2025. But yeah, so we'll look for all those things, and I think I said everything. I guess also I do have a bunch of books. I recently got some multiple books that I'll be working to fill in this as well. If I end up filling up a book or finding a bunch of coins to put in a book, then I'll show it to you, but otherwise I'll probably just leave it out. But anyways, guys, I'm going to look through these and I'll bring you in when I find something. Alright everyone, so I just opened roll number 13, and we have our first understuffed roll, so I thought I'd show you there. I don't know if you can see that in there, but we got this little gap here, and we got a penny stuffed in here. So I'll count through these, and if there ends up being 50 quarters and we made an extra cent, but I think this is probably just understuffed. But I thought I'd bring you in and show you. Alright everyone, we're on roll 18, and we have our first find, and it's a pretty big find too. We found a West Point quarter. I don't know if you can see on that quarter, we've got that W mint mark there. And then we also have that V75 privy there, which means it's a 2020 West Point quarter and not a 2019 West Point quarter. So I haven't flipped it over yet. I was just going through the roll and I noticed the West Point mint mark there, which excites me very much. Like I said, these are usually $15 to $20 quarters, depending on which one it is. And I'll put up eBay comps once we flip it over here. And it looks like we have the Weir Farm one, the 2020 Weir Farm. So there you go. A West Point on the hunt. I will take that. Alright everyone, so I just finished searching through the rolls, and I wanted to bring you in for what we found so far, and then I've got some things to look for after this. But our biggest find so far is that West Point quarter, that 2020 Weir Farm, I think. Yeah, Weir Farm, West Point 2020 quarter. So that's super nice. Definitely one of the better finds that we could find. This quarter is most likely worth even more than a silver quarter would be. And then I wanted to show you as well, I brought you in for one of these I think, but we got misstuffed on 3 of our rolls. So that's 3 quarters down, and we got a nickel and 2 pennies instead. which is okay. I'm okay with a couple misstuffed rolls. It just is bound to happen with the hobby. And then I wanted to talk about these as well. This is not really a find, but it's just something that I thought I found a couple good examples of them, so I thought I would show you guys what we have. But these are all various stages of dryer coins. So basically a dryer coin, some people mistake this for an error, like a grease strike error, but basically it just is one of these coins got stuck in a dryer somewhere. So normally for this coin there'd be like a rock jutting out here, and you can see it's just super smooth. But you can tell that it's not a grease strike because of all that scratching there in that middle bit. It's just real scratched up. Otherwise, it could be a grease strike, but you probably wouldn't have a perfectly circular grease strike like that. But then you'll also have, like, this is also another example of a dryer coin. If I can get it to focus there we go. But this coin, the edge has been rubbed all smooth, and it's actually less wide than a typical quarter, so you can see that because it's been worn down. And then you can see that wear on Washington's face there, and then the reverse doesn't have too much wear, actually, surprisingly. That's another example of a dryer coin. And then this one is also another pretty interesting example of a dryer coin, also just super worn there on Washington's face. His face is worn flat. And then on the reverse too is a bicentennial quarter, so you can see like Drummer Boy's face is all flat there as well. And then the last one is this one, which is also just similar, very worn down dryer coin. But I thought I'd share in case you find something like this in your hunts and you're wondering what it is. It's nothing special, just a dryer coin, just a coin that's been damaged. But anyways, guys, what I'm going to do now is I have a bunch of coins that I've set aside to check with my books to see if they need to go in there. And I also have a bunch of coins to check for errors. So I'm going to do that, and I'll bring you in if I find anything. And if not, I'll bring you in for a wrap-up. Alright, everyone, so we're looking at these 2007 Wyoming quarters here. And I believe that I found an error. On these quarters, they're known for having this DDR, and there's a bunch of different varieties of it. But I don't know if you can see, but just right in here, I'll do this up here, right in here, you can see there's a little bit of doubling in there, and I just think that's probably a DDR. I was looking at Variety Vista, and it most closely resembles the 022 variety, and I'll put up some pictures from Variety Vista there so you can kind of see that. But I believe that is a DDR on the hunt. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Alright, everyone, we're looking at these 2023 Maria Tall Chief quarters, and we have another error here. So I don't know if you can see, but right in here we got a little dye chip in her hair there. So let me show you this other one so you can see what it would normally look like. So you can see there that gap is just fully empty there, and then if I slide that back again, you can see that dye chip there. So anyways, I'll put up eBay comps. I'm not sure how much this would be worth or anything, but it is a little error, so we'll add it to our finds. Alright, everyone, we're looking at these 2023 Bessie Coleman quarters, and we have ourselves another error. This one's a pretty big dye chip error, but you can see here, this is Washington's nose on the obverse there, and you just got this big old dye chip there on his nose. Sometimes this is called like the wart on the nose or things like that. Usually when I found them, they've been real small, but this is a huge one. So that's a pretty cool find. I'll put up eBay comps and things like that if I can find anything, but we'll add it to the hunt. Alright, everyone, we've got these Kanaka Ole quarters here that we're looking at, and I've got two of them that have errors, and they're both very similar errors, but you can see right in here, this A is all messed up looking. That's a dye chip error that's very common that we look for. So we got one of those. And then on this other coin as well, you can see we kind of have a little bit in the K. This one's not as good as that other one. And sometimes you get it like in multiple letters and things like that. But still, two different dye chip errors on the hunt. Alright, everyone, so I just finished searching through all the coins for the different errors, and I thought I'd bring you in for a wrap-up. So overall, this was a really good hunt, actually. We found a West Point quarter, which we're always looking for, and those are great finds. Like I said, those are usually somewhere like $15 to $20, somewhere around that range. I'll put up some eBay comps, or I probably already did earlier in the video. But that's definitely the star of the show, our 2020 West Point quarter that we found here. We love finding these. They're worth even more than the silver that we hunt for, so they're super cool. So we're always looking for those. And then we have our error coins that we found, so our 2 Kanaka Ole die chip errors, that 2007 Wyoming. I'm still not entirely sure if it's a DDR or not, but I think that it is. So let me know what you think down in the comments of whether or not that's a DDR. Then we have our Bessie Coleman one with the die chip error on the nose, which I wanted to show you up close because you can see that real well. Even not under the microscope, you can just see that big old die chip on his nose. That's not supposed to be there. So that's pretty cool. It's the biggest die chip in that spot that I've found. And then we have this Maria Tall Chief quarter as well with the die chip in the hair. And then we did get misstuffed in a couple of rolls, but this definitely makes up for it. But overall, it was a very good hunt, and I hope that you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed hunting. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I try to do content like this, doing coin roll hunts and talking about some of the history of coins in my collection. If you guys have any comments on this video or know anything about these coins that you'd like to share, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. I try to answer all the comments that I can, and I really appreciate all of the interactions that I've had with you guys. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, I was just cleaning up after making this video, and I realized that I forgot to go over our books real quick. So in this video, we actually completed all 3 of these books, except for this one is a little bit different because I wanted to share about it. So we'll get into this. So for this one, this book is completely completed for all of the clad coins that we have in here. So the rest of these empty spots here are for all different silver coins. So those will take us a little bit longer to fill in those gaps. And I'm thinking, I haven't done this yet, but for all these books that I've gotten recently, I'm planning on going back through I've got a bunch of tubes of coins that I coin roll hunted previously, and I'm planning on plugging in any spots that I have in these books, including like my wheat cents and things like that into different books that I have. But I haven't gotten around to that yet. Anyways, we filled in all of these gaps in this video. I mean, some of them were filled already, but this book, all the clad is fully filled up now. And then these 2 books as well. We have our Denver book for the State Quarter series, and this book, the coins don't like to stay in here, so we'll see if I can... There we go. They didn't fall out this time. That's good. But you can see it's all filled up. I think this Illinois one right here was the last one that we needed for this book. So we got that in this hunt today. And then we also filled up this book. This book is too big for me to show you guys really what's in here on the way that my camera's set up, but I'll try to show you as much as I can. So first we have this side here. I believe we had the Maine one and the Minnesota left. And then if we move over to this side here, I know that we had the Hawaii and then the Colorado as well. So we kind of did some of those, and then I want to say there was a couple in here that I found better versions of that I just kind of switched them out because they were nicer. As you can see, we still have a couple that are just in poor condition, like this New Mexico and this Alabama. So we always are looking for upgrades for our books, but I thought I'd share the progress of our books. But anyways, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.